Alex O'Connor, who's been doing a lot of favors to Atheist, if we're going to be honest.
If I went back in time with a Panasonic video camera and put that camera in front of the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea, would the little LCD screen show a man walk out of that tomb?
I would suspect yes.
So Alex, if you're watching this, I appreciate you. Well, apparently, Destiny and him did a live stream.
Okay.
You don't believe in God, do you?
No.
Whoa. And Alex tried to convince Destiny the possibility of a God existing? This is incredible stuff, man. Alex O'Connor out here just doing the Lord's work. I'm all for it, brother. All right, let's jump into it.
Had your kids, had your wife.
Explicit.
Let's see if he did a better job than me. I
Explicit.
debated Destiny on the No Jumper podcast at the end of 2022. I thought I did a good job. I think Destiny was high out of his mind.
This might be more of your realm. So maybe if they don't land it where you hope, you can bring it home for Alex O'Connor.
Yeah, I'll close him.
To win on.
Yeah, to fight from.
That's one of my favorite little. I love a good subversion. One of my favorites is, you know, I will win on this hill. That's my favorite.
I like that.
Yeah.
I've won on a lot of hills. I'm gonna remember that.
I will die on this fence.
Ooh, that's
You know,
like
if you're sort of like I'm sort of violently agnostic about God's existence, and I'm sort of I recently stumbled on this. I'm like, you know, I don't have an opinion, but I will die on this fence. You know, it's sort of a.
When you say agnostic, what do you mean? Like can't have knowledge about it, or you just like are an undecided loser?
I think one cannot have knowledge of the kind that is exemplified in your empiricist rationalist.
Okay, that's
worldview,
fine. That's a good agnostic position.
including me.
Okay. So he's agnostic and he's willing to die on the hill of not knowing.
Die? No, he said die on the fence.
Die on the fence of not knowing?
Yeah.
Is there something I'm missing here?
No, it's not a great position, but it's a skeptic position.
I don't know, but I'm willing to die on sitting on the fence? Go on.
You don't believe in God, do you?
No.
Whoa.
What an absolutely ridiculous question.
Whoa. What do you mean by God when you say I don't believe in God? Like, what's the referent of the word God there?
Wow, what a deep theory of language question. Any type of like metaphysical, but the problem is that.
He did the Jordan Peterson hands.
Yeah, I don't know.
He did the Jordan Peterson
That's the
hands.
best thing. They're definitely. It's late night. They're disheveled.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
This is so good.
Okay, so he asks him if you believe in God, and then he said, you know, what do you mean by God? That's a great question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The real mean you run into is like a physicalist, materialist, atheist kind of person is that technically you are so, you've kind of like circularly bought into the idea of no God that I think that like anything metaphysical existing is almost tautologically impossible. Because when you ask an atheist, or you ask me, well, how do you prove the existence of a metaphysical thing? I say, well, is there some way I can measure it? But the second you can measure or capture anything, it becomes...
Yeah. God.
So what do you think about that?
You can't measure love.
Ayo.
So I would hope that Destiny
What a romantic.
would acknowledge that he loves his kid. He has a son. I would hope he would acknowledge that his son loves him.
He'd probably die on that fence and be like, I can't prove that I love my son, so maybe I don't love my son.
So you can't acknowledge if you can acknowledge that love is a real thing, and it's not just chemical reactions, and it's not just your chemistry firing, and we have these different categorizations of love. I love my kids different than I love my wife. I love my friends different than I love my kids.
Highly complex.
It's highly complex, and I think if you can't, is that not metaphysical, right? He said you can't prove anything metaphysical. I think he would acknowledge you could prove love. Free will. Alex O'Connor doesn't believe in free will. I think Destiny believes in free will. I'm not sure, but that you're more than just like a bag of flesh acting on your lowest level, you know, whimsome instincts. I would think that he believes that there's some form of free will that you can like drive your life into the ground by being on meth and 200 pounds overweight, and then turn it around and be a clean, sober, fit husband and father.
Yeah.
If that's not free will, I don't know what is. Those are metaphysical concepts. I mean, I feel like I'm making very linear, logical arguments that these things are real.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Right? Because if free will doesn't exist, then that means all you want to do is get the most amount of dopamine as quickly as possible in you through drugs, sex, and food. And
yeah.
Well, then
that's actually
why is everybody not 400 pounds and on meth? There's a lot of 400-pound dudes on meth that are homeless right now. Why aren't we all there?
Wow. That's dark.
God is not...
What's the harm? Like, really?
Yeah, but if he exists outside of any qualia, any sort of like sensory perception, any sort of like testing, then how do you even...
No, because God is being itself. So God is...
God, cringe.
So you know when... what's that park in, like, is it in California?
South Park.
Yellowstone.
Oh.
Yellowstone. Yellowstone for years was exhibiting signs of volcanic activity, and scientists spent decades trying to find the volcano. They were looking around Yellowstone Park. They're like, we see volcanic activity.
Yep.
Where's the volcano? They're searching through Yellowstone, trying to find the volcano for years. They can't find it. They're like, what the fuck? We can't find the volcano. We see all the volcanic activity. They're searching for the volcano.
Okay.
Go.
Wait, he's finishing last thought.
They finally realize they're looking for the volcano everywhere, and then at some point they suddenly realize, it dawns on them, the park,
The Aristocats,
the volcano, the whole thing is the volcano.
That's a very pantheism, like all things are God view. You know, I like how he's thinking, because I think he's trying to articulate something that's very difficult to articulate. But it's not that all things are God and we are God. That's a very like New Age pantheistic view. It's that God is something that exists outside of space and time, and it's very difficult to quantify said thing. But there does seem to be a force for good and a suppression of evil within our existence.
Yeah.
But I like that he's asking these questions and he's thinking in these ways.
And he's pitching it in a non-orthodox way. He's pitching God from a non-religious perspective. So it is interesting seeing him kind of pitch a version of God that he thinks could exist, even if that argument still is poor.
Sure, go ahead.
Analogous to us looking around the fucking world. Where's God? Is he under this fucking thing? Is he in the microscope? Oh, like, is he going to be at the end?
Yeah, I understand. That's real deep. Yeah, it's like I've heard
that, my friend. You are looking.
No, that's
you
cringe.
are looking for the volcano.
Yes, if you want to redefine God as being the entire universe, then I guess I believe in God. Congratulations.
You want to redefine God.
He closed him on it.
Destiny believes in God.
Destiny believes in God. Look at that. And so does Alex, apparently.
Yeah.
Definitionally winning that and saying, cringe.
With that mystic point.
Yeah, so then they finish right there.
Hey, man, props to Alex O'Connor doing the Lord's work.
Yeah.
I believe
he got a profession of faith out of Jordan Peterson.
Got a profession of faith in the resurrection out of Jordan Peterson.
He just turned Destiny to a theist.
He turned it more of a deist.
More deist. Yeah.
I hope I can talk to these guys someday. I've reached out to Destiny several times. I've talked to him on the No Jumper podcast. I would love to talk to Alex. I think Alex is much closer than he likes to admit he is. Just even that, like trying to redefine God to create his existence as an agnostic.
He just did a podcast with Justin Brierley.
Yeah, that's the homie. Shout out to Justin. And so I think he is closer than he thinks he is. But then again, if you have a coherent worldview that's working, are you really going to change? You know?
We're assuming it's working.
I'm assuming it's working in his personal life. He seems very put together and solid, and you know what I mean?
Unless the reason that his heart has been softened towards these viewpoints isn't just out of an intellectual non-bias, but possibly a life thing.
Or maybe relationally, like he gets around Christians and they're super pleasant and they care about him and they check in on him.
This is nice. And then Destiny's just vulgar and crass.
Yeah. Yeah, straight up. Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to the intellectual and the answers, but I think there's also something that's like, you just love your non-Christian friends. Like, love them well, check in on them, make sure they're doing okay. And sometimes that could be a witness better than having all the right answers. Hey, thank you so much for checking out the video. Comment down below and let me know what you think. And be sure to check out this video that YouTube is recommending just for you. Let me know if they nailed it. All right? I'll see you over there. Peace.